Okay, so you've heard all about SRE, or Site Reliability Engineering. It's how the world's most innovative companies scale without sacrificing reliability. But to build a healthy engineering culture, you need more than tools. You need the right processes to make sense of complexity. Help everyone be accountable for quality and turn incidents into investments. Blameless is the end-to-end SRE platform, and we're here to meet you where you are on your journey toward resilience.
Hi, today we're going to go through a high-level walkthrough of Blameless, starting with the SLO manager here within the UI, and then walking you through the incident management and retrospective components of Blameless, and then wrapping this up with reliability insights, which will be our analytics metric tracking dashboard. So with Blameless, you can go ahead and build and configure various SLOs to help with understanding the error budget of whatever you deem for your particular objective. In this way, it'll help you in terms of forecasting what work should be prioritized within the near term in terms of a rolling 28-day window. So what we're looking at here is our SLO manager, and you'll see here at the top, we'll have a high-level summary of the statuses of the SLOs. And then below there, we'll have all of our various user journeys that you would create within the UI. Now from here, if I were to go and expand this out, you'll see that under this user journey, we have our various SLOs. Now, in order to get to this state, what you'll do is you'll connect to your APM provider, whether it be a Datadog, a Prometheus, a New Relic, and that is how we'll then be able to determine the SLIs or service level indicators that'll feed into Blameless to populate the SLOs that you'll see here in a second. Now, once you have this set up, you'll see here that for each of these SLOs, we'll specify the SLI type. So we'll have availability, latency, throughput, and saturation. You'll see the reliability target. So this is a target that you would set in order to calculate the error budget over a 28-day window. The current service level, the status, and then the error budget. So in this case, the remainder of how much you have for your error budget for this SLO, the current daily burn rate, and then based off of that burn rate, how much runway you have, and in this case, 2 months. So I'll go ahead and select this first one. And once you're in a specific SLO, you'll then be able to view 3 different graphs. So the first is going to be your error budget graph. This is going to be on a rolling 28-day window, and this is for you to understand how much error budget do we have remaining, and allowing this to help you in terms of making decisions on what direction we should move from a development standpoint. The next one is going to go and show you the actual events. So based off of the actual service level indicator type, this is where you can then specify and understand, okay, what are the different good events that are coming in versus the valid events, which will then populate what we see above there in terms of the error budget graph. And then the last one is going to go and show us, based off of the performance for this particular SLO, how are we performing against our objective or the target that we've set here. So in this case, you'll see here that the SLO target that we've set, or the objective rather, is 90%, and we're consistently above and in the green for this particular SLO. And this is a good opportunity for you to go and validate this in terms of, are we actually seeing this as accurate in terms of what customers are experiencing or your end users, or are they actually seeing errors and reporting those, in which case we would then have to adjust our objective here to be much higher to align with what the actual expectations are from the end user. Now, based off of these SLOs, we'll have our error budget policies. So this way, these alerts can be configured so that way you don't have to continuously be looking at the screen here, and we can then send out notifications via email, via Slack, as well as creating a Blameless incident, which will be the next portion of this walkthrough. So if we were to go ahead and add a new notification policy, this is where we can go and configure how we'd want to be alerted based off of the SLO error budget depletion. And this could be based off of the actual percentage of the error budget being depleted, or based off of the burn rate, and we'll calculate it as days left before 100% depletion. So this way you can go and specify at which gates you'd want to be notified. And the notification methods you'll see here will be email, a Slack notification, or actually triggering a Blameless incident, where you can have a specific SLO error budget incident type to then go ahead and kickstart and be more proactive in terms of trying to identify what's causing the error budget to be depleted and getting ahead of that before it becomes a larger issue. Now with that, let me go ahead and jump into the incident management piece. and we'll go and take a look at our Slack instance. And from here, this is where we can then connect into your existing technologies that you'd normally use during these incidents that could arise. So in this case, Slack is certainly one of the main things that we'll see here as an integration point that a lot of our users will leverage with a dedicated incident channel, doing all the collaboration there. We'll also have integrations with Jira, so that way any sort of action items that result from this incident can be automatically created into your Jira projects for tracking and also incorporating into upcoming sprints or upcoming work. And then also we can integrate with things like PagerDuty, with Zoom, to make sure that in terms of communicating out via page, you have that functionality, as well as providing a video conference link. So in this case, had this been triggered from the SLO error budget policy, we would already have all the resources created here for this incident. But in this case, I'm going to go ahead and create a new incident here. And we'll go ahead and just run the /blameless command. I'll go ahead and start the incident. Select an incident type. These are all customizable, so you can go and include any sort of existing policies that you have around incident management into Blameless, so you have an option here. In this case, I'll go ahead and select customer incident. You can provide a severity level and a description. So we'll say users are unable to log in. And we'll submit this. And then once I do so, you'll see here that the incident channel will be created for this incident. We'll go ahead and create a dedicated Jira ticket as well. So this way, any sort of follow-up action items can be all related to a single ticket. And then we'll also create a Zoom link. One of the other things that we'll do here is we can also help in terms of communicating this out. So you'll notice that we have our customer success channel highlighted. And we just want to show you here that we'll have a message being posted automatically to these various channels that you would configure to make sure that any sort of stakeholders who are in these channels can go ahead and receive these sort of updates in an automated fashion. And they can go ahead and certainly join the channel directly from here, or they can just go ahead and just keep an eye on these alerts or these announcements just to make sure that they are in the loop in regards to the progress of this incident. So let me go ahead and jump into the incident channel. And one of the main things, or one of the first things you'll see here, are these series of tasks. So these tasks are meant to be a sort of guardrail for the actual incident team, especially if your team is the type, or your organization is the type where you don't see too many incidents. So the actual process is not as familiar, not as baked in as you'd like. These tasks will certainly provide those guidance, those guardrails, that guidance when it comes to coming into an incident. Especially for higher severity incidents, you really want to have a tight, coordinated effort when it comes to going about running through these incidents. So in this case, we'll have two sets of tasks. One will be for the commander, and the next will be for the communication lead. So the notion of an incident role within Blameless is very important. We certainly want to make sure that the members who are joining these incidents, who are assigned these roles, can clearly understand what their responsibility, what their purpose of them being in this incident is. So you can go ahead and have these tasks added here and configured here so that these are available within the actual incident channels. The next is around to help with the actual progression of the incident. So one of the first things you might want to do here is you want to start involving people into these channels. So there'll probably be some sort of initial triaging to really understand what the issue is. But you'll see here that by clicking on this drop down for manager team, I can quickly come in here and assign an incident role, or just simply invite users into this channel. For the see who's on call drop down, this is going to be pulling the services from your PagerDuty deployment. So this way we can go ahead and quickly select a particular service to see who the current on-call engineer is, and we can directly invite them that way as well. So once this is all kind of set up here, all meant to happen within a couple minutes, really at this point we want to start collaborating with each other and sharing information, capturing all the important points within this actual incident channel. So I'm just going to go ahead and start typing in some information. And then from here, we'll go ahead and, you can essentially look at this as, one of your kind of standard use cases. So from here, the idea is that as people are adding information into these channels, you can go in and start highlighting these messages to be added into your incident timeline. So I'm going to go ahead and select one of our incidents that we already have here. And this is where we'll have our timeline being compiled from the actual incident channel. So if I were to come in here and actually start adding emojis, and this is how you can then trigger the bot to capture these messages, this is how the users themselves can start capturing all the relevant details to start creating this timeline with these important details as the incident is going on. No need to wait until the actual incident is complete or resolved. You could do this directly as the incident is on its way to the resolved state. Now from here, we can go ahead and start doing additional things like creating follow-up actions. So if I were to want to come in here and maybe I realize that I need to go ahead and start documenting these action items that'll help either potentially prevent this in the future or just help in general around improving the overall process. What I can do is I can just go ahead and start typing out the actual ticket or the actual action item. And by adding the hashtag to do at the end of the message, we'll actually trigger the bot to go and create a ticket off of this message. So you'll see here the bot will validate and acknowledge, and we'll go ahead and see that a follow-up ticket has been created by Paul. And if I come into the UI, this is all going to be consolidated. All that work from Slack will then be consolidated into the UI here within this incident. So you'll see here that this is the ticket that we just created. Here's a ticket link, so that way we can go and package this up into a postmortem or a retrospective report if we choose to do so. Now from here, I'm just going to go ahead and jump into an incident that we've already worked on just to kind of fast forward a little bit. But you'll see here that as users are working on these incidents, this will be a way for us to go ahead and start capturing all this information from the actual channel and have it so that you're building out your incident within the UI here. And the main goal is that as we're going through, we want to make the process of getting the incident into a retrospective state much easier in terms of the actual manual work it takes of gathering all that information that you normally would even today as you're kind of going through these incidents. So if we were to jump into the actual postmortem or the actual retrospective, this is where we'll have this timeline here on the right to really provide a lot of the actual data that we're covering or capturing during the actual incident. Now from here, in terms of providing structure and guardrails or guidance around the actual retrospective, we'll have two main sections here. So let's start here with the analysis section. The analysis section is going to be what you're most likely familiar with in terms of how you're performing RCAs today. So this is probably something that you would capture in your Google Doc or on a Confluence page. So this is essentially providing that similarity, that kind of familiar function with the collaborative text editor here in Blameless. So you can go and preload whatever template you like, make it look like what you normally would see within these different RCA documents, and then users can come in here and start adding their own notes, and you'll see the edits happen in real time. On the Overview tab, one thing that we want to certainly do here is be able to allow for users to report off of different elements of the RCA. So you'll see here for the custom questions, this is, as the name would indicate, a section in which Blameless admins will be able to customize these questions. So this way, from an end user perspective, I can quickly understand what the expectation is of me in terms of what type of information I should provide as a part of this RCA. From a management or from kind of a higher level perspective, I now have the ability of taking these different questions and answers and actually building metrics or graphs off of these different questions. Essentially, you're able to customize these key value pairs so that way we can then use our reliability insights tool, which we'll wrap up here with, in terms of building out these different dashboards. So you'll have these questions here, and they can be customized per the use case, the incident type, the severity level as well. If I scroll down, this is where we'll also see some timing metrics, and I'll show you some examples of what some of these outputs are. We'll also be able to add tags as well, and then our follow-up actions. This is going to be all of our different action items that we have created into Jira and this way we can go and track those and include those within the final report. Now, when we get to a state where the actual RCA is complete, which will be the published state, we'll actually clean up the Slack channel for you as well. So this way we can go in and we'll notify you saying that, hey, if you were to go ahead and publish this, this is going to go ahead and archive the Slack channel, and that way this will effectively mark the end of this incident, and the channel will be archived for you in Slack, so you don't have to go and have these long-standing Slack channels just living there within your Slack app. And then in terms of exporting, we'll go ahead and automatically email this out if you have that enabled, but for on-demand, we can go ahead and have PDF, Markdown as two kind of outputs that you can download, and then also sending this out via email whenever you need to. Now, the last piece we'll go into is around our dashboarding. So within our Reliability Insights dashboards, there's a lot of data that we're capturing along the way with the incident record, the postmortem or the RCA record. So a lot of these different findings and metrics we can then have bubbled up here within these various custom boards. So in this case, we'll go ahead and provide you with 4 default boards to go ahead and start with. But as you start understanding the requirements in terms of how we should start tracking and measuring, the incidents that are coming through, or how timely we are in terms of performing these postmortems or RCAs, this is a great way to go ahead and start visualizing this data and essentially being able to review these on a weekly, bi-monthly, or monthly basis. So from here, as an example, what I have here is a board showing me some MTT metrics to understand how much time it's taking us to identify the incident, how much time it's taking us for us to actually implement some sort of remediation or some sort of fix, and then how long it's taking us overall in terms of resolving this incident as well. And then below we'll have some data tables around looking at all the incidents regarding this particular service. So essentially we're filtering it off of a specific tag that are being added to these incidents. All the different JIRA tickets or action items associated with those incidents, and then all of the published postmortems. And then of course, in terms of those custom questions, these are some outputs in terms of what sort of visuals we can have in regards to taking those custom questions and having them in a single location with our various dashboards and metrics. So that was a very quick high-level demonstration. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to any of us at Blameless. And if you want to set up another call, we're happy to do so as well. Thank you.